Welcome to History Bites Hub, the place where we explore the most striking moments in history. Today, we dive deep into one of the most critical periods in American history, the American Civil War. This conflict, lasting from 1861 to 1865, shaped the fate of the nation. It was a struggle over slavery, states' rights, and the integrity of a nation, marking a turning point in American history. At History Bites Hub, we will delve into the causes of the war, the important figures of the era, the unforgettable battles, and the impacts of the war on society. The echoes of the war are still felt today. So, how did this conflict start? How did it end? And how did it shape America? Together, we will seek answers to these questions. Welcome to the story of the American Civil War. Causes and background of the American Civil War: slavery, states' rights, and economic differences. The American Civil War, a bloody internal conflict in the USA between 1861 and 1865, was rooted in fundamental causes with deep historical origins that shook the nation's foundation, including issues like slavery, states' rights, and economic differences. Slavery. The most important and controversial cause of the war was slavery. While the northern states were transitioning to an industrial economy, the South's economy was largely dependent on agriculture and slave labor. The growing opposition to slavery in the North and political movements to halt its expansion caused great concern and anger in the South. Slavery was not just an economic system, but also a way of life and a foundation of social order. States' rights. The issue of states' rights concerned the balance of power between the federal government and state governments. Southern states viewed the federal government's laws and restrictions on slavery as a threat to their right to self-determination. This was a significant factor in the South's decision to secede from the Union. Economic differences. The economic disparities between the North and South also played a crucial role in the onset of the war. The North developed an industrialized and trade-based economy, while the South remained reliant on agriculture and slave labor. These economic differences created deep social and cultural divides between the two regions. Conclusion: the American Civil War was shaped around these three main issues and ultimately led to the abolition of slavery, the increase in the federal government's power, and fundamental changes in American society. The war left deep marks in American history, shaping the nation's identity and future. This composition summarizes the fundamental causes of the American Civil War and their historical background, pointing to the war's long-term effects on the United States. Key figures and leaders of the American Civil War. The American Civil War brought to the forefront some of history's most charismatic and impactful leaders. This era is renowned for both its military geniuses and political leaders. Here are some of the most influential personalities of this period. Abraham Lincoln. One of the most prominent figures of the war, Abraham Lincoln was the 16th President of the United States. Lincoln is known for his determination to preserve the Union and end slavery. Opposing the expansion of slavery and fighting to keep the Union together, Lincoln secured an unforgettable place in American history with his Gettysburg Address and second inaugural speech. Jefferson Davis. As the first and only president of the Confederate States, Davis was a leading symbol of the South's secessionist movement. A military and political leader, he defended the independence of the Confederacy and the rights of states. General Robert E. Lee. Recognized as one of the most famous generals and most talented military leaders of the Confederate Army, Lee is known for his military strategies and tactics. His decisions in the Battle of Gettysburg and eventual surrender at Appomattox were key moments that shaped the course of the war. General Ulysses S. Grant, the most effective general of the Union Army, Grant is known for his successes in the Siege of Vicksburg and the battles of Chattanooga. Known for his bold and determined leadership in the later stages of the war, Grant ultimately secured Lee's surrender. These leaders demonstrate that the American Civil War was not just a military conflict, but also a clash of leadership, determination, and ideologies. The war shaped these figures' leadership qualities and personal values, placing them in significant positions in American history. Important battles and campaigns of the American Civil War. The American Civil War, lasting from 1861 to 1865, was defined by a series of battles and military campaigns that left deep marks in American history. These conflicts were pivotal moments that determined the course and outcome of the war. Battle of Fort Sumter, 1861. Considered the start of the war, this conflict took place at Fort Sumter in South Carolina. The battle signaled the escalation of tensions between the North and South into armed conflict. Battle of Antietam, 1862. This battle in Maryland is known as the bloodiest single day in American history. The clash led to President Abraham Lincoln issuing the Emancipation Proclamation, changing the course of the war. Battle of Gettysburg, 1863. A three-day battle in Pennsylvania, Gettysburg was one of the bloodiest conflicts of the war. It marked the halt of the Confederate Army's advance into northern territories and is seen as a turning point in the war. Siege of Vicksburg, 1863. The capture of Vicksburg, Mississippi, by Union forces secured control of the Mississippi River, splitting the Confederacy and significantly weakening its logistical capabilities. Sherman's March to the Sea, 1864. Led by General William Tecumseh. Sherman, this campaign inflicted severe damage on the South's economic and military infrastructure. The fall of Atlanta and Sherman's march significantly reduced the Confederacy's morale and war capacity. Surrender at Appomattox Courthouse, 1865. General Robert E. Lee's surrender to Union forces symbolized the end of the war and the Union's victory. This event marked the conclusion of the four-year conflict and the beginning of the nation's reunification process. These battles and campaigns illustrate that the American Civil War was not just a military conflict, but also a part of the struggle for national identity, human rights, and freedom, civilian life, and society's impact. During the American Civil War had profound and lasting effects, not only on soldiers on the front lines, but also on the civilian population across the country. This period is remembered for the physical, economic, and emotional burdens it placed on American society. Economic effects. The war affected the economies of the North and South in different ways. In the North, the war economy accelerated industrialization and production. However, in the South, blockades and continuous war conditions upended the agriculture-based economy. Cotton production and export suffered significantly, leading to the collapse of the Southern economy. Daily life and civilian participation. During the war, women took on more active roles both at home and in the workforce. Many women served as nurses in hospitals or joined aid societies to support war efforts. Daily life was overshadowed by constant news of loss and deprivation. Social changes. The war ended slavery and led to the emancipation of millions of slaves. However, racism and discrimination continued to be prevalent during this period and led to significant social and political struggles during Reconstruction. Psychological effects. The deaths, injuries, and destruction brought by the war left deep psychological scars on American society. Families grieved the loss of loved ones. Communities struggled to cope with the devastating outcomes of the war. Conclusion: the American Civil War was more than just a military conflict. It deeply impacted the fabric of American society. The war transformed economic structures, social orders, and individual lives, playing a crucial role in shaping the course of modern American history. Technology and warfare methods in the American Civil War. The American Civil War was a period marked by significant changes in military technology and tactics. The technological innovations and warfare methods of this era played a critical role in shaping modern warfare. Weapon technologies. One of the most notable technological advancements during the war was in firearms. Innovations such as rifle muzzles and the mini-ball greatly increased the range and accuracy of rifles. As a result, traditional battle lines and close combat tactics became much riskier. Artillery. Advanced artillery technologies played a major role in the war. More effective and accurate artillery pieces influenced the course of battles. At sea, ironclad warships revolutionized naval warfare, communication and transportation. The telegraph allowed for rapid communication during the war, enabling commanders to act more effectively. The expansion of railroad networks accelerated the transportation of troops and supplies, providing a significant logistical advantage. Medical advancements. The war led to significant progress in medical care and surgical techniques. Quick and effective medical interventions on the battlefield increased the survival chances of the injured. War tactics. Technological advancements also led to changes in war tactics. The impact of artillery and long-range rifles made trench warfare and prolonged sieges more common. Conclusion: the American Civil War was a turning point in the modernization of military technology and tactics. The innovations of this period laid an important foundation for subsequent conflicts and wars.